Are you thinking about moving to Fort Worth? Whether it's for a job relocation, you're looking for a change of pace, or are just curious about life in North Texas, Fort Worth has a lot to offer, but it's not for everyone. I'm gonna be breaking down the biggest pros and cons of living in the Fort Worth area, and at the end, I'm gonna be covering an alternative that might make sense for you as well. So Fort Worth is one of the fastest growing cities, not only in Texas, but in the country, and it is known for its Western culture, its food scene, its economy, but like any major city especially, it has its pros and cons. So let's figure out if Fort Worth is gonna be the right place for you, and if you end up deciding that a suburb of Fort Worth is gonna be a better option for you, stick around to the end of the video, and I'll give you my top recommendation and some more info to check out. Now we're gonna jump straight into pro number one, and that is gonna be better cost of living when compared to a lot of other major metro areas. So first off, when you decide to move to Texas, you're gonna be avoiding a state income tax. So maybe you're moving from a place that has a state income tax, big savings there. And once you're inside Texas, you're still gonna get a cost of living savings because Fort Worth is gonna be a more effective place to purchase a home and live than areas like Dallas or Houston or especially Austin. And now if you want even more money for your home in a highly rated school district in a great community, there's places like ALEDO that is just 15 or 20 miles west of downtown Fort Worth. So to further reduce your cost of living, you can consider a suburb. But be careful, not all suburbs are created equal. So I do actually have a video about my favorite Fort Worth suburb. There's spoiler alert in the name of the channel, but check that out and let's keep going with the list. Okay, so pro number two is gonna be the business growth and the job market in Fort Worth. So Fort Worth itself, not inclusive of the suburbs, has 20,000 people a year moving to Fort Worth. And there's a lot of reasons why. We have some very large employers. We have Lockheed Martin, we have BNSF Railways, we have American Airlines in the area. We have a Tesla distribution center that's going to be coming to the Fort Worth area soon. And we have like just other strong industries. We have tech, we have like a Facebook data center here. We have a really strong like healthcare market here. So we have Baylor Scott and White, we have Texas Health Resources, we have Cook Children's, which is world renowned for its childcare healthcare. My wife worked there for 7 years and talked about how people from all over the world would fly into Cook Children's for certain specialty issues because we just have the best children's doctors in the world for some specialties here. That is a huge benefit. That's a major pro, is just the market, the business market, the housing market. Even when you see an economic downturn, areas like Fort Worth experience that significantly less than other areas. So like the California, we experience it less. We have a more shallow, they're less deep when there's a dip. So we have a really strong business environment that really drives everything else. And so Fort Worth is going to be a very economically resilient market to live in if you choose to live in this area. Okay, now pro number three is actually going to be, I think, Fort Worth's like Western culture and entertainment. So this is what truly sets Fort Worth apart from other major metropolitan areas. And I say we, like I'm in a suburb of Fort Worth. We have stockyards, barbecue, country music, like the Western history. We have museums, we have live music concerts. We have access to like major sports. So like while they're not hosted in Fort Worth, you're very close to Arlington, a suburb of Fort Worth, where you have the Dallas Cowboys, you have the Texas Rangers. In Fort Worth, we have the TCU Horned Frogs. But more than all that, more than all of like the entertainment, kind of there's the Western theme, I'm gonna go wear boots and a cowboy hat kind of stuff, is really it's this like Western culture that even permeates like the business atmosphere. People are laid back, the culture is friendly. Even in the business environment, like boots, nice jeans, and a blazer is a perfectly acceptable business attire for networking lunches, for business meetings. You'll see guys going to a business meeting in a cowboy hat, and that is perfectly acceptable here. That's not an outlier. Honestly, and it's kind of funny, you go to some of these events and the only guys in a suit and tie are gonna be your bankers and your attorneys. That's something to think about. It's just a much more laid back environment. In a different life, before I was in real estate, I had to go to Dallas and Houston and Austin and San Antonio for work. And even just going to Dallas, I mean, Dallas is, essentially a major metropolitan city. And that's the atmosphere, major metropolitan city. I mean, everyone's dressed to the nines all the time, suit and tie. It's just different. It's a different feel. So if you're looking for a more relaxed business environment, Fort Worth is great. And so if you want to experience that Western culture, that laid back atmosphere without the hustle and bustle of, downtown Fort Worth, you can go to Parker County. So Parker County is, maybe 15 miles west of downtown Fort Worth. There's lots of neighborhoods, there's communities over there. There's ALEDO, it's an awesome suburb over there. I actually have a video about that you can check out if you want, but there's other options too. So just that culture is something that is unique to Fort Worth, not just unique to Texas major cities, it is unique to Fort Worth even inside Texas. So that's gonna be a definite pro and one of the most unique pros I think about the Fort Worth area. Okay, so pro number 4 of Fort Worth is going to be like the outdoor activities and recreational space. So Fort Worth has the Trinity Trails, which is a long trail network that goes along the Trinity River, where you can run, you can ride your bikes. There are certain areas you can kayak. A lot of people do not want to get in the Trinity River, but some people will. And then we have multiple lakes that people can go. We have Eagle Mountain Lake, we have Lake Worth, we have Benbrook Lake. So if you want to do boating, skiing, fishing, whatever you want to do, there's options for you there. And then Fort Worth has some really nice high-end golf clubs. So there's Rivercrest Country Club, there's Colonial Country Club, Ridgely, Mira Vista, and then that's to mention all like the public courses and smaller private golf courses that you could hit up in and around the Fort Worth area. And one of the great things about the Fort Worth area is that for all you avid golfers, even the suburbs often have their own golf course or golf courses that are available. So there's actually going to be 2 really highly expected, highly rated, high-end golf courses coming in a suburb of Fort Worth. So you've got Bluejack Golf, which is a Tiger Woods brand, is coming in. They've already started kind of the early stages of that. Then you've got Maverick Golf Ranch and Club, or Golf Club and Ranch, which is going to be this just astronomically luxurious, super high-end golf course community that's going to be coming southwest of Fort Worth in the ALEDO ISD area. And that's going to be brought to you by Discovery Land Company, who's known for like Vaquero Golf Club, that's known for these super luxurious high-end destination resorts. So that one's going to be really cool. I'll have a video on that at some point when there's more information about it. I mean, they're super private on that information, so I know a little bit of info, but not a lot. And so that's one of the cool things about the Fort Worth area. It's not only is there great golf in Fort Worth, but you can choose a suburb to live in and still have immediate access to multiple golf courses. So that's going to be my pro number 4. Now, I'm sure you've seen more than a few pros and cons videos, so you know that the list and the video doesn't end here. Now I'm going to move into the negatives of the Fort Worth area, and I'm going to have my top negative at the end of the video. So if you are thinking about the Fort Worth area or you're being relocated by work, stick around to the end. You'll want to hear that. And if this is your first time on the channel, you can take a look at the channel name and know where I'm going to be heading with these top suburbs you should consider. But if you're looking for a top suburb of the Fort Worth area, hit that subscribe button and check out some of my other videos. Okay, now con number 1 really isn't Fort Worth specific, but it is worth putting on this list. It's really a North Texas issue, but we have, not only do we have hot weather, we have unpredictable weather. So in the summer, you should expect many days where the high is above 100 degrees. There was one summer where I was working at a summer camp where I think we broke the record of like 100 days of triple-digit highs, so over 100-degree temperature and highs, with no rain. So that was a really hot summer. Again, that was record-breaking. But not only do we have hot summers, occasionally have winter storms that just ice everything out. In 2021, the winter storm was so bad that it actually strained our electrical system in Texas, political issues surrounding that. But my house was out of power for 60 hours, right? So that's an anomaly. That was, they say that was like once in a 100-year ice storm, all sorts of issues around that. But not only have super hot summers, we also have occasionally these crazy cold snaps, these ice storms. We don't get a lot of snow, we get ice. So when that does happen, the roads can get really bad. People don't know how to drive. There'd be lots of wrecks. That's something to think about. And then we also get hailstorms, which is a reason for our insurance deductible and insurance rates going up. And less often, but possible, we do also get tornadoes. So we're kind of, I guess, maybe you might call us on the edge of like Tornado Alley. We don't get as many as like Oklahoma, but tornadoes are a reality. Hailstorms are fairly common to just hit different areas more frequently. And then just the general temperature, the cold, the hot, the back, and the forth. You know, we'll have days where we wake up and it's 33 degrees. In the middle of the day, it's 60. And then that night, it gets down below freezing again. So kind of the unpredictable weather, the big swings, that is going to be, I think, a con in a lot of people's books, especially if you're coming from a more temperate environment. Okay, now con number 2 is going to be traffic and our public transportation system. So first on traffic is that while Fort Worth is better than Dallas or Houston or many other major metropolitan areas in the United States, the traffic is getting worse. Honestly, any time of day going north of Fort Worth on 35 is terrible. I don't like it. I hate it. Anytime you're going east towards Dallas, like a commute to Dallas would just be terrible. If you were going to be working in Dallas, do not live in Fort Worth. Live somewhere much closer to Dallas. And then going south during rush hour is really bad as well. So rush hour traffic is bad. During the day, it's not always terrible, but 35 just always kind of sucks. And then our public transportation system is basically non-existent. We have limited buses that drive around, parts of Fort Worth. And we have a TexRail system that has like a station in Fort Worth, like one station on the way to Dallas. It's not something that is functional and usable for the everyday average person going about life. If you are living and working in the area, you need a car. This is not a major metropolitan city where the average person can function using public transportation. So that's going to be a negative. If you're coming from a city like that, that's going to be an adjustment. You will need to, and people will expect you to have your own mode of transportation, and that is part of the traffic issue. So traffic is rising as development continues and construction continues in the Fort Worth area, even though technically it is still better than other major metro areas. Okay, now con number 3 is going to be high property taxes. And I'm not specifically talking about Texas property taxes or property taxes in Texas. I have a video where I do a whole video on Texas property taxes. What I'm really specifically mentioning is that Fort Worth has a slightly higher tax rate than a lot of the suburbs that are surrounding it. So even if you're gonna work in Fort Worth, you can choose to live somewhere else and pay a slightly lower tax rate. And if you really want to reduce your tax rate, you can live outside city limits. So there's a hint, if you move out west, you go to Parker County, the vast majority of Parker County, with a couple of caveats where neighborhoods have extra taxing units, you're gonna be able to save on your property taxes. So con number 3, not only does Texas have a higher than average property tax rate if you're coming from another state, but Fort Worth has a slightly higher tax rate than many of the surrounding cities. Okay, well, we're gonna end this list at con number 4, and unfortunately, that is the Fort Worth School District. Now, I do think that's a big deal, right? And the Fort Worth School District as a whole is going to be a below average school district. However, I don't want to fail to mention there are some very highly rated schools, specific schools, a small handful of elementary schools and maybe like an intermediate school or two, very highly rated. Excellent schools, people love them. The problem is the neighborhoods that feed into those schools are very expensive, very exclusive, which means that if you're not in one of those neighborhoods and you don't want to send your kids to public school, you're paying for private school on top of everything else that you're paying for in Fort Worth. And so when people have in the past are relocating to the Fort Worth area and they're asking me about schools and where they should live, the nicest way to say it is that nobody moves to Fort Worth for the schools. So if schools are of top importance to you and you're going to be relocating for a job in the Fort Worth area, start looking at suburbs and you're going to have a lot more options that have higher rated school districts. I actually have a video about what I believe is the top suburb of the Fort Worth area, highly rated schools, lots of other benefits. Check out that video. The biggest reason really is the schools. So check out that other video because a suburb like that is going to remedy that big concern that you might have about the schools. Okay, so in closing, Fort Worth really is a truly unique city and an amazing place. But no major city is without its negatives. So if you are looking for a way to experience all the positives and to mitigate the negatives, choosing a suburb of Fort Worth could be a great option for you. And if you're looking for beautiful homes, great neighborhoods, highly rated schools, then ALEDO specifically could be a very strong choice for you to consider. And on my channel, that's what I focus on. I have a lot of videos about ALEDO and the ALEDO area. So if that's something you're considering, hit that subscribe button, check those videos out. And if you have more questions that I haven't answered in a video, all my contact information is in the description box below. Feel free to reach out, ask me questions, shoot me a text, whatever is most convenient. And if ALEDO is a place for you, I look forward to seeing you on the next video.